What's going on, everyone? So this offseason is going to be very interesting for the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, they have two top 10 picks in which they could use to trade. They could use to draft two guys, or maybe they trade one and draft one. Going to be quite interesting to see what they do with the draft. But also this offseason, right? There's a lot of talk about many of the free agents really want to come and play with Victor Wembanyama. I mean, he is a true transcending talent. The guy was absolutely incredible in his rookie year, all defensive team in his first season. I mean, you could have argued him winning the defensive player of the year. He was that good and that impactful. He's a guy that he's in 3 to 5 years, maybe even sooner. He may end up being the best player in the league, like far and away on both sides of the basketball. He's already arguably the best defensive player in the league. And, obviously they are going to try to look to make some strategic moves because Victor is very young, but you also, with him being as good as he was out the gate, are kind of in this position where it's like you don't want to waste too much time, especially with him on a rookie deal. You kind of want to get everything that you want to get now and but I'm not saying they have to do it all this year, but get a piece or two this year, maybe a piece or two next year, and then by year 3, boom, you're off to the races. Let's go contend for an NBA championship. That's the idea. And then, when Victor's new contract kicks in, you're hopefully in a winning position to where you can really capitalize. But there's lots of talks about guys like Darius Garland, DeJounte Murray. Are they going to trade for Trey? Even though there's been some reports that are like, they're going to stay away from that. They really do need a point guard. And point guard, I definitely think, will be a point of emphasis. But Spurs are a young, kind of bottom-feeding team that you kind of can make an argument they need pretty much everything outside of power forward or center, depending on where you want to play Victor, which also is a benefit because you can play Victor at either. But one name that really comes to mind that could make a lot of sense for the San Antonio Spurs is OG Anunoby, right? So OG, he's a free agent. Now, the big hurdle, like the big problem with OG, let's just kind of get that out the way, is he wants like 40 million, like 35 to 40 million for a contract. I don't think he's worth that. I mean, he is one of the premier 3-and-D guys in this league. I do think in a bigger, kind of more expanded role, I do think he could be a legit two-way, go get you a bucket, do more than just kind of spot up three. Like, I think he could be one of the better two-way guys in the league. But I don't know, like, you're talking about superstar, best or second best player on your team type money. I don't know if he's that. It's always possible, right? You never really know. I mean, look at like Jalen Brunson, for example, using a Knick, right? He was just kind of a guy on the Dallas Mavericks, ends up getting the opportunity with the New York Knicks, and now he's their franchise player, right? Now, I'm not saying that OG will necessarily become that, but I do think OG is a guy that could be a maybe 25 point a game guy. I don't think that that's like crazy and off-putting or that far-fetched. He's 15 right now, right? He's 14.7 points per game is what he averaged in the 2023-2024 season, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, but more so his defense. I think if he's kind of more in a bigger role, I think he could get you, 22 to 25 a game, defend the best player on the other team. He's got such great size and versatility. He's 6'7", 6'8", 230. He's got like a ridiculous like 7'2" wingspan. So you just have the size, the length. Pairing him alongside Victor would just be menacing on the defensive side. Now you're really starting to shape a roster that could potentially be the best defensive roster in the league. I'm not saying with just OG and Victor, but again, you're starting to shape that. Right? You get OG, get Victor Wembanyama. Maybe you go make a trade. Can you go trade for like Darius Garland? No, if you could do something like that. Now you got Garland, Devin Vassell, you got OG Anunoby, you get Victor Wembanyama. Now you just kind of need a center. Maybe you draft a center, right? Or I wouldn't even hate bringing back, DeJounte Murray. I know some people are kind of hot and cold on DeJounte Murray. I know some Spurs fans don't really want DeJounte, but can he get back to being that, all defensive type of point guard? Right now, you got basically your point of attack defensive guy. You got your best defensive player, one of the best premier 3-and-D guys in the league. You got Victor Wembanyama. Now you're good defensively. You're good offensively. Right, you got your bucket getter and Devin Vassell. You just got to go get another big man or something. Right, OG. You could even put slot at the 4 if you really needed to, but I think keep him at 3. But I just think that this would be a real solid move. Now, question is, does he really leave the Knicks? Now, I wouldn't be shocked if he does, but I think the Knicks will ultimately pay him, because I don't think that they're going to want to just let him go, let him walk. I mean, he's still 26 years old. He still has a lot of room for growth and improvement. And the Knicks felt like a team that, if they were healthy, could have. I don't think anyone would have been super shocked if they were in the NBA Finals. I don't think that they would have beaten Boston, but I think they could have gave Boston a little run for their money. Right? I just think that this is kind of Boston's year. But, I thought, when healthy, they looked like they were the second best team in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks, right? Like, genuinely. They were clicking. They were running through everybody. They were good on both sides of the basketball. I think healthy, they could be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. So I really do think the Knicks are going to do everything they can to kind of keep that intact. Also, they traded for OG, so I don't think they want to just like lose assets. I mean, the Knicks aren't really strapped for assets. It's like they're in a good position, but still, like, you brought this guy in to be your long-term kind of, cornerstone and foundation piece. You don't want to just let him go for nothing and lose him for nothing. And there's even talks about Isaiah Hartenstein leaving, which I wouldn't mind Hartenstein for the Knicks or for the Spurs either. I think he makes a lot of sense as well. Just as that high energy type guy pair alongside Victor. I think I might even have to touch on him in a later Spurs video, because I do like that idea. But sticking with OG, I think if you can pry him away, you can bring him on, right? You can sign him to a long-term contract, because that's what he wants also, is a long-term contract. Him being 26, he kind of fits that timeline to where, if you take a year or two to kind of get in position to where you need to get. Also, him in a kind of expanded role, what does that look like? You kind of spend the next year or so maybe giving him a little more opportunity and see, like, is he a guy that can go get a bucket anywhere and actually just up his scoring total, right? Can he be a 20-point a game consistently, game in and game out, night in and night out, right? Is he capable of maybe potentially being that like second tier guy, because Victor's just so good and so transcending, right? Like, I think because of how good Victor is, I think even that second guy, you don't need him to necessarily be Giannis or anything like that. Like, I think with Victor, and as great as he is, and if he becomes anywhere close to what we think he will be, I think you just need kind of like that clear-cut guy, right? Like, I think you can win a championship. Like, if OG can become a legit, like I said, 23 to 25 point a game guy, defend the best player on the other team, shoot with some efficiency, which he does. He's efficient. Again, average, just under 15 points per game on the season. He was averaging 15 with the Toronto Raptors, average 14.1. 1 point less with the Knicks, but also, the Knicks had Brunson and various things like that. But he also, from the field, shot almost 80% from the foul line. He had an EFG of 56.8%, 2-point range 55.3% from 2, and then 39.4% from 3-point range. Total field goal percentage of 48.8. That's good, right? Now, imagine if he has, again, a more expanded role. He kind of is able to get more shots up, because he's only averaging 11 field goal attempts per game for both the Knicks and the Raptors. He's averaging, 12 for the Raptors, 11.9 for the Raptors, and then for the Knicks was 11.1, and then he was shooting a hair better percentage with the Raptors than he was with the Knicks. But again, it's a very different role that he was playing with the Knicks compared to the Raptors. You got just more components on the Knicks. The Knicks were actually, a really good basketball team. But I think, can he, even be around, say, 46% from the field, 45% from the field if he's taking 17 shots a game? Can he get up to, like I said, 23 points per game? I think that could really go a long way, him defensively. Because, again, Victor is so good and so great. I think you just need, like, one other, not like superstar guy, but like all-star level guy. And then if you can just have a couple really nice complementary pieces, said you could spend a year kind of really getting a look at OG and just see, what does he look like? Getting the shot attempts and getting the opportunity. Or is he just not it? He's clearly a third guy, right? He's not capable of really being that second guy, even with a guy as good as Victor Wembanyama. Or does he take those strides and it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute, right? Like, he could be, maybe like a souped up Chris Middleton or something, right? Like, hopefully a little more consistent. But I like the idea of bringing in OG regardless, even if he doesn't become that. It boils down to the price, right? Because I just don't think he's a $40 million a year guy. I don't. I think a team like the Knicks, they'll probably pay him because they don't really have a choice. But if I'm the Spurs, if he wants 25 million, sure. You sign him to a 4-year, $100 million deal, I'd do that all day. But if he wants 4 years, $160 million, or 4 years, $120 million, I think, you let somebody else go get him, right? Because I just think at that point, again, you're paying him to be basically your second best player. And I don't know, like, can he be? I don't know, right? We've never really seen him get that opportunity to the level to really see, right? I mean, the most field goal attempts he's taken for his career was in 2021, 2022 with Toronto, and that was 14.5 attempts per game, right? And he averaged 17 points that year, right? So going off of that, although his field goal percentage wasn't as good as it has, he's actually gotten better field goal. It's actually his worst field goal percentage, which also begs the question is, 12 to 13 attempts per game, the sweet spot. But, even if he shooting the percentage that he shot that year on 14.5 attempts, you bump that up to, say, 18 attempts, then he'd be a 23 to 24 point game guy, right? Now you're talking, right? So I don't know. It's just kind of a thought. Love your thoughts and opinions. As always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of OG on the San Antonio Spurs? Do you think, no, stay away from him? He wants too much money, or, even if he is willing to come for 20, 25 million, put that elsewhere. How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.